Hello and welcome to The Content Bite, a podcast for freelancers who use their words to make money. I'm Rachel Smith, a freelance journalist, copywriter, and content producer. I'm also the founder of Rachel's List, a jobs board and community for Aussie writers and other creatives.
Hello, and I'm Lynne Tarlinton. I'm a journalist and a content writer as well, and Rachel and I are your weekly co-hosts, and every week we're bringing you all kinds of tips, ideas, and some fabulous guests to help you make the most of your freelance business.
Hi Lynne, hi everybody. How are you going this week, Lynne?
Oh, hi Rach. I'm really well, actually. I'm a bit cold, but pretty good. It's all good.
You're about to be a lot colder.
I know. Going to Tassie.
Yes.
It's so great to be back, and I'm so excited about our guest today. She's one of the smartest marketers I've worked with. We work together quite often, and I think she's got some great insights into how freelancers and writers can work with brands.
Absolutely. This is something that we have touched on before on the podcast, and it's just so interesting. Like, if you're a small business, there's so much power in those collaborations and those partnerships and things like that. So I'm very excited about our guest as well. We are chatting to Therese Tarlinton, who's a senior marketer at a large Australian company. And I'm just going to read a little bit about Therese before we get her in the hot seat. Therese Tarlinton created a startup in her 20s that grew to a business in 5 countries, manufacturing for Jeep, Sesame Street, and United Colours of Benetton. After selling her company, she now collaborates with big brands, captivating their mutual customers and creating brand advocates. Therese is so passionate about small business owners collaborating on marketing that she wrote the book on how to do it. It's called Swap, Marketing Without Money, and it launched earlier this year, flew into the Amazon One bestseller lists and in the top 10 on Booktopia in small business books. I'm in the middle of it and it's absolutely brilliant. Loving it. Loving it, Therese. Welcome.
Welcome, Therese.
Thank you so much for having me, Rach and Lynne. I'm so happy to be here on the Content Bite.
Great to have you.
Now, Rach said a little bit about your background, but how about you tell us a little bit about yourself? I know you created the startup back in your 20s. How did that all come about?
I have been a marketer for a really long time, and I started my career in marketing, and then I really had that pull to do my own thing. And I was on a trip to the US and I saw a Jeep baby stroller, and I didn't have kids, so I didn't know I wasn't in that sphere, but I just had an inkling because it was branded baby product, and I knew enough to know that there wasn't anything like that in Australia. So as you do in your 20s, with no fear.
Yes.
Like literally I just fronted up to the company and I said, hey, I would love to bring your products to Australia. You know, I can do a feasibility study and I can show you, the workings, and I can launch it. And luckily they took a chance and they said yes. And so I became the distributor of these baby products and got them to Australia. And then realize what the partnerships could actually do for a small business. So as I said, I was just a young woman in my second bedroom. And through that brand, I actually was able I contacted Jeep Australia, the car, and I talked to their PR manager and I said, hey, I've got this brand and I'm bringing it to Australia. And she said, oh my gosh, that's so cool. Do you know what? I'm going off on maternity leave, and how about I'll do your PR for you and you give me some baby products.
Oh, wow.
And I said, done deal. Excellent. Love that deal. Fantastic. And she got me in every magazine, every newspaper across the country for about 6 months. That editorial got me a meeting with Target, where Target had seen an article in the Financial Review. And so their CEO was past the meeting room that I was in with the buyer and said, I want to see that on the floor next week, to the buyer. And he had seen it and he wanted Target to be the first with this stroller. And so then I just started going, okay, this has got something in this. And so then once I got Target, then Huggies actually approached me and they said, hey, we've got a great idea. We would love to do a competition where we give away a Jeep car and some Jeep strollers to mother and baby. And if you just give me the Jeep strollers, then we'll put you in this competition. I said, done. So they had my product on every nappy box around the country for 3 months. And that literally took me from being a startup in my second bedroom to, $1 million in turnover in my first year, because I used the power of the Jeep brand, and then I used the actual collaborations with other companies to push me forward. So I leveraged as much as I could and used their credibility to actually, get into the market. So that was an amazing ride, and it kept growing and growing into, I had then manufactured Jeep strollers so I was a distributor, then I became a manufacturer and started manufacturing Jeep for other countries and had it in 5 countries. I then got the license for Sesame Street and Benetton. I was a young woman in Australia making Benetton strollers and selling them back to all parts of Europe. And so it was a bit of a magic carpet ride. And of course it was 100 times harder than I thought it was going to be, but it was 1,000 times better than I thought it was going to be. And so I did that for quite a while. And then, and I guess I was doing babies at home because I had my family, and babies at work and baby trade shows and baby. And I just decided, what, there might be an opportunity here to kind of exit out. So I did that. And since then I've been just kind of working with lots of brands around how to actually use the power of partnerships, how to actually just do stuff together that's going to benefit your mutual customer. So I guess I've been doing partnerships way before influencer marketing, before affiliate marketing. Like it's just the power of actually just businesses working together. So so that's how I started.
Wow. Amazing. I mean, we talked a little bit offline about how you've been, that business owner with no money in the second bedroom, and now you're working with larger companies, and you've been working on site with larger companies. Is it a hard adjustment to make a change? I mean, those are two very different mindsets, aren't they?
Definitely. And I will say I have zigzagged in and out of corporate over my career. Corporate has huge budgets and big opportunities and opportunities to explore with so many brands. But I also think that, there is immense value in what small brands have. So because I've been able to zigzag back and forth, I know what both sides have to offer and to gain. Yep. And that is that, big companies are sometimes a bit like the Titanic. And they're a bit hard to move, and they go through 17 layers of management and sign-offs. And
we've been there.
We know.
Yeah.
And small businesses are hungry and nimble and flexible and dynamic and can actually get stuff done really quickly. So the innovation, when you're big and it takes a long time for innovation, to be able to create innovation in marketing, in content, in partnerships, that can happen really quickly is something that I think that big business can really benefit from. And that's why I guess I've had a good experience in terms of saying, well, I know I've been a small business and I know what we can do here, and work with small businesses and actually know what they're looking for as well.
I know, I totally get what you mean by that, because I love working with small businesses. I feel like they're that nimble sort of, quick thinking, and you can make changes.
You're close
and see
to the decision
results.
makers too, aren't you?
Yeah, and you can see results so quickly, and that is so rewarding as a freelancer. I'm getting slightly off topic, but because big businesses, it is this wheel that you're trying to turn, and it just takes forever.
It can.
Absolutely. And I think for small businesses, I remember when I was a small business, and you're in your second bedroom by yourself, and it's sometimes a bit lonely, and you've come from corporate where there's heaps of people and heaps of money, and and so then when you're by yourself, then as we know, like when you're doing that, you might be especially good at your craft, whatever your craft might be, whether that's cooking, whether you're a freelancer and you're writing, like whatever that craft is. But as a small business owner, you're now doing the accounts, you're now doing the sales, you're now doing the prospecting, you're putting out the bin.
Yes.
You're now doing everything. So what I always find is when you get like I'll call them a gaggle of small businesses together, it's not as isolating. And because everybody is kind of coming together with a spirit of generosity, then you get these big ideas and that environment where you can actually, in a safe space where you're like, do you know what? I've got an idea, and it's a seed. It's a tiny, tiny seed of an idea. And then everybody else starts kind of layering on top and going, and you could do this. And what about if you did that? And I know someone you can talk to. And I know where we could do this. And all of a sudden, this seed of a tiny idea then becomes something like an executable plan.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of small, dynamic, nimble businesses coming together, because it's that camaraderie, and that sometimes business is a bit lonely. So you get that beautiful fix of people and energy, but it's still in a very generous space where it's not all about money. It's about building credibility. It's about building relationships. So the effect is so much bigger than the contribution.
I think so many freelancers who already do collaborations or partnerships on a small scale would really relate to that. Definitely.
For sure. How do you think that sort of collaboration and everything can work for small businesses like freelance writers and creators? How can they take that thing to build their own businesses?
There's so many opportunities. And I think, so if I was going to say start with one thing, it would be like, who is your customer and who has the same customer as you? And then also, who are you a customer of? So, for example, who you're a customer of, Optus. Optus is a company that actually is incredibly supportive of small businesses, and they have like a small business hub, and they are always creating content, and they actually have contributors. So they have people that are actually writing about their topic, and they really push it out. They push it out through social. They push it out to their huge database of other small businesses. They do have written and podcasts and other types of content that they can actually project. And so that's where it's like, well, who else could I help? And then on the other side, in terms of who are your customers, so as a freelancer, we obviously, I know Lynne and I have worked together. So then Lynne, suggested a photographer, and so all of a sudden you can start kind of going, okay, well, who else and who else? And so then if you're a content creator, then what about that website agency or that freelancer that's actually doing websites, or the freelancer who's doing podcasts, or the videographer? Like, who else is actually in the same space but not competing? And something that I saw quite recently was actually, it was a competition, but go with me for a second. And it was about how to write a book. You won not publishing, but you won a book deal. And the book deal there was a coach who helped you actually write the book. There was an accountability guide that actually kept you like on task in terms of keeping your business running. There was a printer. There was a headshot photographer. There was a videographer who did your book reel. There was a printer who would actually print your book. And so you had the opportunity to win a package of getting a book published. Now, when you think about that, all of these companies, most of them were freelancers or single person businesses.
Yep.
The printer was obviously a small business, not one of the big printers, a small business. And collectively, they were all sending out this competition to their own databases and sharing other people's names to their own databases and actually collecting a database of obviously people who are interested in writing a book. Now, obviously, the person who does the book promo reels is going to be able to market to that person, but so is the book coach, and so is the printer, and so but they don't compete. None of them compete.
Yeah.
Now, that was a competition, but that could also be a podcast series. That could also be a webinar series. That could be a full day event where you actually got, 100 people in a room that wanted to actually write a book and teach them about how to do it. So it was just, I thought it was a really great example of something that, we all, as small businesses, we all know lots of other small businesses, and I think we're quite good at saying, oh, I know someone you should talk to. but actually being a little bit more structured than that, and actually saying, do you know what, let's do something a little bit bigger than that. Instead of just referring off the cuff, you know, when people are asking for recommendations, how about we actually put together something that's a little bit more tailored, where we can actually go out and have a really coherent voice that's talking directly to our mutual customer. And you think of that from the other side. So just pretend for a second I haven't published my book. Then I'm like, as a person, I'm like, wow, okay, I didn't know all these people, but now actually I might contact that book coach, and actually now I know who that printer is. And I didn't know anything about a book promo reel. Well, now I do, because apparently she's the best in the business. So as a consumer, then I have got this great experience where all of a sudden I've been given this gift of knowing all these great people in the industry that actually can produce the end result for me.
So interesting, isn't it?
Amazing.
I guess it is taking that. I mean, a lot of people ask me about contacts, you know, as you say, photographers, web designers, things like that. But often, yes, I do refer. I don't often say, actually, let me come back and we'll do a package together to offer. And that's taking it to the next level, isn't it, really? It is. That is an interesting opportunity. What do you think, Rach?
Yeah, no, I haven't really thought about that, but I do offer it on my website. Like if a company came to you and said, I need this and this and this, and I offered one of those skills or two of those skills, but they wanted really to be hands off, I say I can put a team together, because often I can, like I have all those people and I can bring them together. But I suppose it's a case of, how do you price that? How does everyone get paid? How do you have, you know, your
balance
profit on top
different...
of that? Yeah, it's a tricky one. So we end up not doing it, perhaps, because it's easier just to refer to people and let them handle their own invoicing and let the company sort of deal with them as separate entities, I suppose.
Yeah. But thinking about it from a marketing perspective, in terms of, you know, we all do Google, you know, Facebook ads, Google ads, like we all spend money. It's a bit of a lottery. It's a bit like an auction, you know, well, it is actually an auction. So how are we getting that next lead? And then knowing, and so as you say, Rach, like most of the time you go, oh, I know someone you should talk to. Here's Joe Bloggs' number, ring them. And you just kind of put it out to the universe. And so we're all good natured by doing that. You know, what if you, for when you're saying you can offer one or two of those services, but maybe not the third and fourth, like what if you actually said, do you know what, I've got an idea, like maybe we could do an email. I'll do an email out to my list, and you do an email out to your list, and just literally say, hey, I recently did this project or this piece, or, you know, whatever it was, and I worked with John, who is a photographer, and the end result was this great thing. And John is actually, you know, available to do this, or has a special package going, or something. And I just thought it might be of value to you. Like most of the time, I guess, especially sitting in a marketing role, I'm the customer. I actually need the whole thing. I don't need one thing. I need the whole thing. So if you can actually introduce me and collaboratively work with other people and say, do you know what, I can give you the whole thing, and it's all done, then I'm like, I'm in, done, tick, where do I sign?
And, you know, now that you mention that, I do work with some small businesses in the sense that I'll work with a designer and project manage a brochure. So her and I will collaborate on the brochure design, I'll write the copy, and then we present it as a thing to the client. But then the client will pay us separately and we'll invoice separately. So, but I have done that before, and I've also brought in an SEO person to a meeting with the designer. So we come in and we each do a portion. I think perhaps what we're talking about here is a bit like what Jack Taylor does, Lynn, where, you know, she has all those people, but you become more of an agency, like solving all those problems together, but they're almost subcontractors to you, which is a whole other
that's a next
kettle
level
of fish and world of pain.
And so, as you say, there's that subcontractor feel where you're actually collaborating for business. But I guess even as a baby step, it's about just like, can you collaborate for leads? Just leads.
Just
for the introduction. Just like, you know, let's have a few dates before we get married kind of thing. Like, let's just, you know, like,
Yeah.
because as well, like, you might get into a subcontractor situation, but you actually really want to feel out, like, over a number of projects, how they work, are they reliable, are they turn up on time, like all these kind of things. So actually just working together on a little bit of prospecting or pitching, then it gives you a, you know, a feel of how you can actually work together. So just, I guess it's one of those things, like partnerships, we all do them all the time in terms of you should call Joe Blogs, but just taking that next step, so it's a little bit more formalized, where you can actually get that lead back, or get a lead from it, get a actual something physical from it, but not as far as a subcontracting project, like just kind of stepping through that process and feeling it out. And there might be, you know, two things that work just so great together. So it might be, you know, a content creator and a photographer, because it's seamless. I need both.
Or a web designer and a writer.
But exactly. And so we know that we need content. We know that our websites need content. We know that our social needs content. And so how do we actually going to do that? So if we can actually solve, you know, more than one problem and help another business, and then they obviously can help you back and refer you whenever they're getting asked as well.
Yeah, really smart way to go.
Yeah, the photographer I've worked with, that I worked with you, Therese, he was saying the other day when we were doing a shoot, and he said one of the things he really liked is that I dealt with all the client stuff. And he said, because he does that with some of the other projects he works on, but he said the nice thing about working with me is I'll manage the client and he just turns up and follows the brief, and he just takes the photos, and he quite likes that. Otherwise, it's his favorite type of job. So, I mean, he can do the other thing, but that works quite well because I quite like the client stuff, and he's such a nice person and easygoing person to work with. So I like working with him because he understands clients, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I guess from the client point of view, I got a great article with great photography that was organized, that I could step away from and actually let, you know, you guys do it. And so the end result for me was worth so much more than the individual parts.
Yeah.
And it was so much better because you both were working together to make sure that it was seamless. So it was a better result for the client.
Yes.
And so now obviously we're like, let's do it again and again and again, because everybody was a winner in that situation.
So obviously you are using lots of freelancers in your work, in your day job. And from what I'm hearing, you want freelancers who can bring all those pieces together for you. Do you think that that's, you know, what a lot of marketing departments are looking for? But a lot of the time freelancers will come and say, well, I can do the content, but I can't do the SEO, or I can do the copywriting, but I don't know any photographers. You know, you're looking for freelancers who can bring all those elements in, even if it means, you know, tapping their little black book and that sort of thing.
I think when you're in a big marketing department, then you either go to an agency with a brief and you say, here's the brief, I need to create a piece of collateral, or I need to create a podcast series, or and you go to the agency, and the agency does everything, and they find freelancers and the subcontractors and whatever. And so, and obviously there's a cost involved in doing that. It's the bigger cost. I think from sitting in a big marketing seat, I will say that, well, for starters, not many freelancers actually contact me, to be honest.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Yeah. And when they do, it's like, hi, I'm Joe Blogs and I do this. And I'm like, great. But I was listening to the podcast with John about pitching, and it's so true in terms of, like, if somebody actually came to me and said, I've seen actually a few things that you've done lately, and I know that there's a bit of a trend from publishing at the moment about this certain topic. And so I thought I'd reach out because I could actually create this for you that tapped into this trend and related to other stuff that you're doing. But I see that you're short on video, and so I'll actually get, you know, a video created with it as well. Then I'm all ears. I'm like, what, who, how, what? Amazing. Tell me more.
Yeah.
Because all of a sudden, if a freelancer contacts me and goes, hi, write stuff, or I'm a podcaster, or like, I'm like, great, what do you want me to do with that? Like, then it's back on me to kind of do the thinking. And but if someone approached me and said, based on what you're doing, I think there's an opportunity, and I could plug that hole, I could fix that, I could give you something in 3 weeks which would actually put you in another position. Oh, that's a blessing. Like that.
And it's a whole other kind of pitching, isn't it? It's taking the editors out of it, but pitching to corporate clients in a way that you see a problem or a pain point and you offer a solution. And perhaps the freelancers need to become better at that when they're tapping into those corporate clients.
Absolutely. Because I think, obviously publishers need content, of course, but the amount of publishers there are compared to the amount of businesses that need to produce content, that need engaging, relatable, interesting, involving content. And I think where this kind of partnership, but not, again, just what is a great story? And a great story has lots of characters, right? It has depth. It's not a press release about a widget. I don't care about a widget. I care about, what did that widget do to somebody to help them solve a pain point, or enhance their lives, or made a problem go away, or something. So the ability, so I would say, in my experience, like, journalists have an amazing skill, which is the ability to ask really good questions.
Yeah.
And a really, really good question will always get a better answer than a really kind of question. And so then the content that gets created is interesting and relevant and timely, and all of a sudden I can take that piece of content. And if I'm a good marketer, what I will do with a freelance is, when a freelancer hands me over their work, a good marketing department will take that piece of content and they will repurpose it. They will pull it apart in as many ways as they can. And that is around taking that quote and putting it on social, taking a paragraph and putting it on LinkedIn, taking those photographs and putting it on Pinterest. Like, it's actually about, like, what is the essence of that, and how do I drive it all back? So from an SEO point of view, I'm not creating an article for SEO purposes. I'm creating an article for people to read, right?
Yeah.
But of course, but if I've got a quote from another company, then I've got a backlink. If I've got if I've got a product mentioned in that, well, I've got a kind of a backlink to another product. And that might not be my product. It might be for a completely different product, but it enhances the storytelling. And so, and then when you obviously have a beautiful article that is well written, well constructed, has different points of view, has different voices in it, then obviously you share that piece of content with the voices, the people who contributed to it, and they usually share it as well. So you've got this beautiful, organic, generous feeling of everybody who has contributed. And then that's also a lead. So if you get to have a conversation with an architect and you ask them for a quote, then do they need any content created? And they saw that you created something really beautiful. And so I would just say, there's, like, from a client point of view, like, where can you solve their problem? How can you upsell? So I can create an article, and then I can actually create from that, some LinkedIn posts, and I can create some, Facebook, or I can actually do a recording, and I could turn that article into a podcast, or a piece of audio, or a soundbite, or I could actually create a reel from it. I'm not a reels person. I wish I was, but
Yes.
like as in, like, what else can we do with that? Like, what, that's what great marketing is about. You should never pay money for one thing and use it once. Like, that's kind of a waste of money.
But could it be that the freelancer says to you, well, I can do that, but here are 10 ways that I think you should repurpose it? And that's really useful to you as well, just
Absolutely.
a little bit of a value add. Yeah.
100%. And I would then use that freelancer again, because the thing that obviously a freelancer usually is a specialist, right? A specialist in a craft, but usually a specialist in an area or an industry, or they might be great at travel or home and garden, or a specific area. And so if they're especially good in an area, then they'll know what other people are asking for, what publications are asking for, what their articles are getting clicked on, which ones are doing really well. So the ability to actually go to a client and say, this is what I've done, this is the trend, this is what's actually getting read, these are the words that are kind of being asked, these are the Google searches that are being created. I think I could do this. And then, just to make your life easy, for an extra X amount of dollars, I could actually create all of these other pieces of content for you. And so you had a whole ecosystem that, instead of this piece of content being used once in one place at one time, you could take this piece of content and it can be used over the next 60 to 90 days on your different platforms. That's generous. That's smart. It's smart marketing, because as a client, it helps me. It helps me so much. But from a freelancer point of view, you've already done the work. You've already done the work. So to actually, while you're in that headspace, to actually kind of pull it apart a little bit, and then
it's not that much extra effort, really.
Exactly. The incremental value that you can offer, and the extra money you can get from it is a win for both parties.
Yeah, for sure.
I love that.
I think that's also goes back to our magazine days, Rach, when you'd actually do your story, but I mean, increasingly they want pull quotes, they want captions, they want some images, and it all builds on all those contacts. Well,
I definitely remember the most intensive stories were Home Beautiful. There were so many elements. And that was print though. There were so many elements that came with the brief that you had to do to ensure that story had as much leverage across everywhere, and then it made the sub's life a little bit easier. But I do find in digital content now, it's actually so normal for me to be asked to provide metadata, insert keywords, come up with keywords, write the socials for whatever platforms they're on. And I will get templates that have all those sections in them. So it's all of that is filled out before you.
Although I have to say that what Therese is saying, I'm quite excited, because I've never added audio to any of that. And you've just inspired me to thinking about audio. I've often thought, see, you get stuck in your little world that I think with print, I think of pull quotes and stuff. And then working digital, we start thinking social and metadata, but you're actually layering audio and video on it now, which is really interesting. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Definitely. And these are the things, it can be, I'll say, traditional video, like a YouTube video and an interview that goes for 10 minutes. Of course, great stuff like that. But obviously same with written content and tiny bites. Then that's reels, right? We as society now know that Instagram algorithms, just like Facebook algorithms, prioritize different pieces of content. So we know if we do a post, it'll get X amount of likes and shares. But if we literally take that post and put some music to it, and actually, instead of making it like a carousel, like a post with 3 images, if we actually take those 3 images, make it a reel, put some music on it, put a couple of captions, it's getting 10 times more views than just that post, because the algorithm is serving it to more people. So Instagram is prioritizing the video format above the still format. So again, it's just, now it's the same stuff. It's the same. It's just thinking about it.
It's really fascinating, because what we do with guests like you is we have a headliner post where we do the little wiggly lines and we pull a pull quote from what you're saying, and it kind of talks, in the post, and then we upload that as a post. But just listening to you now makes me think, well, we could grab that audio and upload it as a reel and apply the captions and have a picture of you. And that's going to go way further I'm just realizing, Lynn, than the headliner posts, because they're not reels, they're just.
Oh, I post them as reels, actually.
Oh, you do? Yeah, I suppose it could still work as a reel. But if you did it a different way, like uploading a snippet of and then using the reel with the captions, it'd be interesting to see what kind of reach that got.
Yeah, it's so fascinating because it's just about playing and the collaborating, all the different tools you can get and repurposing. Yeah. See, Rachel and I will have this great conversation on the plane
very
tomorrow.
Nimble. We'll be changing everything tomorrow, basically. Yeah.
Do you see a lot of freelancers making a lot of mistakes? Are there some common mistakes? I guess it's that, I'll write for you what you want. That's probably one.
I would say two things. I would say just saying, "Hey, I'm Jo Blogs and I can write." Well, okay, but how can you help me? Like, so it's not actually coming to me with an idea, and actually, like, an idea is just an idea, right? Even if it doesn't land, I will respect an idea 100 times more than I'll just go, "Hi, I'm Jo Blogs," and because it's some amount of effort. Like, even if that idea isn't quite where I want it to be or something, you've gone to the effort of just putting an idea out there, and I will connect that idea to the person. I'll be like, "Oh, that's the guy that rang and he pitched that idea. Oh, that's right." It's more memorable than somebody sending an email going, "Hi, let me know if you ever need me to write something." So I would say always come up with an idea, or just look and say, "Hey, I noticed that you're doing this kind of content, or I'm seeing that you're really pushing reels at the moment, or you're doing some kind of incentive or competition or whatever," and actually have a time. Look, obviously we can all look on Instagram, and if we spent 2 minutes on Instagram before we contacted a client, you would get it's something. Not rocket science, right? Yeah. And then the other thing I would say is, if I kind of go, "Yeah, not my thing," or "not the right time," or if I respond to you, then most of the time I never, ever, 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 ever hear from people ever again. And I know that from a partnership point of view, it might be that I just can't do it now, or like whatever. But I want you to keep talking to me. Like, I want you to go, "Hey, I just did something for somebody else in your industry. Thought you might like to see it." Or, "Hey, there's something else." Like, just
continue the conversation.
Yeah, I just keep me in your thoughts,
and build that relationship.
Exactly. Or just, it could be as simple as being on LinkedIn and actually kind of going, "Love that story, Lynn, that was fantastic," or whatever. Just so I'm like, "Oh yeah, I keep seeing this person commenting all the time, and now I can see that they're working for somebody else in my industry. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, well, maybe I should make contact with them." So the two things I'd say is just not pitching, just kind of get literally going, "I do this." And then also never following no is up. Not no. No is not no. No is just not right now.
That's really interesting. Yeah.
And I think a lot of freelancers do drop the ball on that relationship building. They might make that initial approach, but then drop the ball and not follow up, or think a no means a no and not think, well, this might be a yes in a year or 6 months or something like that. So yeah.
And I think with with some kind of CRM, even if it's a really basic one like a Monday, or something where you could just like put something in to your contact to kind of go, "Do you know what, I'm going to contact Therese in like 2 months," and just say, "Hey, this is what I'm doing," or what have you. Or, as I said, it could be just as simple as when that prompt comes up in 2 months, just going on LinkedIn and actually seeing what I've posted or whatever, and going, "Hey, I saw that, love that video that you've created," or whatever, and just some kind of contact.
Yeah, amazing. Oh my gosh, we could talk to you all day, but I really want to move on. I want to move on to your book, because it's just really interesting, and let's chat a little bit about that. I mean, what made you come to write it, and was it hard to write or easier than you thought?
Do you know what? I actually loved writing it. It was hard, of course, but I I've been mentoring women in business for about 15 years. It's something I feel really, really strongly about. And that's because when I was young, I had a mentor who helped me, and it really did help me. And so I just felt like, do you know what? You have to pay it forward. And I honestly believe in a mentor relationship, you get way more or just as much as the mentoree. So in that kind of relationship, you've got someone saying, I'm stuck, or I'm not quite sure how to do this. And the ability for you to go, oh, actually, I know this is something that I can help you with. I've done this before. Or have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? And just having that relationship, and it makes my brain work. It makes me feel good. It makes me, I leave these conversations inspired and thinking about different things or having a different angle. And so I really believe in the power of mentoring. And I think it is an amazing gift for both parties. And so when COVID hit, then obviously there was, quite a few people that I have had great relationships with, and they were, oh my gosh, this is the end of the world. How am I going to do this? What should I do? And I just started having more and more conversations. And I thought, and I kept saying, you like partnerships, go and do partnerships, go and talk to these people. And then I thought, oh gosh, I'm saying this a lot. And I thought, do you know what? Maybe I should write it down. Maybe I should just do some cheat sheets or something. And I was like, oh, nah. And then I was like, do you know what? From a bucket list point of view, I have looked at authors and thought, wow, that's cool. Like to be an author is, I found quite aspirational. And so I thought, well, what if I actually put this in a book? What if I did this? And I wrote it. I really enjoyed it. And then I went to a couple of publishers with the manuscript, and I got a publishing deal, which was amazing. And then the book came out. Well, the book actually, because of COVID, the printer got COVID. And so the physical book was supposed to come out and didn't, because they had to shut down like the whole printing business.
Oh, no. Oh, God.
But we'd already gone out with this date, 31st of January, book's launching. And so we were like, what do we do? We haven't got a book. Like, what do we do? And this is a very cheeky thing, but actually worked to our advantage, which was we launched on Amazon on the 31st of January. So we launched the digital, the book. And then we couldn't launch the print copy on Booktopia for like 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
But when we launched it on Amazon, then we got to #1 on that day. Now, all of a sudden, that accredited amazing marketing opportunities for when the print copy came out 2 weeks later, because it was already a #1 bestseller.
Yeah. Put that on your cover.
Exactly. So I have, I've loved when people have reached out to me, not my friends, people that I don't even know that they exist on the planet, like people, and they've gone, oh,
that's exciting when it's people you don't know. That
my gosh. Exactly. And that's the thing when I'm like, I actually don't know you. This is the best.
It's not my mum.
And when they say like, I'm doing it right now. I actually, when I did the book launch, when I do mentoring, heaps of everybody says, but I'm just a small business. I don't know what I've got to offer. And I always say, oh my gosh, you have so much to offer. And so one night with a glass of wine, I sat there and I wrote down everything a small business could offer a bigger business.
Yeah.
And I came up with 103 things.
Wow.
I actually and it's not about the 103. Okay. It's not about, but the point is most people don't think that they have 3. So I just wanted to actually show there are 103 things here. If you can't find 3 out of this 103 that you could leverage, then, there's something wrong. Like there's so many things that you could leverage. So, and I asked, again, like somebody that I didn't know, but somebody who was commenting on my social quite a lot, but I was a small business owner in Byron Bay. And I actually said to her, hey, I've created this 103 things. Like, would you? And I said, I know I'm asking a big favor. I don't know who you are, but actually I would love you to read this because I don't know who you are. And I would love your opinion. And she came back and literally wrote this kind of essay about like oh my gosh, I didn't realize that I could use my retail store to actually have other brands do a pop-up. I didn't realize that my importing experience to get products for my store, I could actually leverage that. And I could teach other people. I didn't realize that I could. And so she wrote all the things that she was going to do based on just having read. Oh, it was actually, I did a video and walked her through. So that was the greatest gift for me, because it was like, oh my gosh, that was, if I don't know you, and she's like, I hadn't thought I could do anything, and now I think that this is limitless, and I can actually see how I can put it into practice tomorrow, and I can take little bite-sized chunks. And they can all, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. And so she was like, I can do all these things. I could actually just do one thing. I could just talk to one other local business in Byron Bay, and together we could do something. I could just do this one thing. And that's what it's about. It's just one thing. You just do one thing, and then you'll find that it just has momentum, and then you'll be like, oh my God, that was cool. Let's do another thing.
I really want to go back to something you said a minute ago, and we sort of like flew on to other things, but it was kind of interesting to me. You were saying people were freaking out during COVID, and you were telling them that partnerships and collaborations were the way to go forward and keep your pipeline full. Is that something that you could apply also in, say, an upcoming recession?
Absolutely. And Rach, the whole thing is, it's just obviously people, they had time, which for some people wasn't a good thing, because they had time to freak out. And so they were like, what? Oh my God, what am I going to do? And I was like, okay, just let's go right down to the bare bones. Like, who are your customers? What do they actually need? What would they love if you put something and something else together? What would be a better experience for that customer? What would they walk away with? Like, how do you, and the book is called Swap, Marketing Without Money, because most of these partnerships, there is absolutely no money changing hands. This is leveraging. This is saying, you know what, let's do something together.
It's a very appealing concept. I have to say.
For freelancers who have no money.
And it's not a bartering system, okay? Like, it's not, I'll give you one Facebook post to one Instagram post. Like, it's not that. It's about coming together and saying, we've got the same customer. What if we created something, and that something could be a piece of content, it could be a co-branded product, it could be a competition, it could be a all-day workshop, it could be a pop-up at an event, like it could be a 1,000 things, but it was really about, well, like, if we're both coming from it, if two companies are going together, we've both got the same customer, what could we do to actually have this amazing customer experience? And we could both kind of benefit in the process. Then it stops being a bartering system, because then I'm like, you know what, like, all of a sudden you might have agreed that, oh, I'm going to share it on LinkedIn and I'm going to do this, and then you realize, oh my gosh, this is great. Like, people are loving this. Do you know what? I'm going to do a reel about it. I'm going to jump on Facebook Live and talk about it. And so there's a spirit of generosity with partnerships, because it's not a bartering system. It is about, how can I make this so good for the customer that they just love it, and they're either engaging or buying or interacting or getting that lead, or whatever that is. But like I said about sitting in my marketing chair, if you're coming to me and you're solving a problem, then that's great. I'm loving that. Like, beautiful. And we all have competitors, right? All of us. So as a big company, of course, big companies have big competitors. Big competitors have big budgets. So the creativity of actually using other companies and doing something together, and that innovation process is separating you from your competitors. And so that's the good stuff.
And helping you stand out more, I suppose.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so that's why when, if on a normal campaign, we'll do, we might do kind of Facebook ads that is kind of product based or whatever. And then if we actually do something with, an ambassador or a different company, and we get them to say some words, those ads will always outperform, a product ad, like every day of the week, because somebody else telling their story, somebody else telling your story is always going to be way more engaging than you
tooting your own horn.
Yeah.
That third-party endorsement.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
It's interesting, about partnerships and networks, and what people don't know or may worry about is that they want to create that partnership, but they're worried about, what if it's very one-sided? Like, what if one brand is doing so much more for the partnership and the other side isn't really, kind of pushing it as much? And so it's like, what are some of your tips on building a partnership where it is quite equal and you can, both get something out of it?
For sure. And so, Rachel, this is not a legal agreement. And of course, there are definitely partnerships that require legal agreements. Of course there are, right? Like licensing deals, any kind of deal where there's a significant investment by a party. So if you're co-branding a product and you need to go into tooling or fabrication, or of course they should have a contract. Of course they should. But most partnerships are, as I said, coming from a spirit of like, you know what, like, why don't I send an email and you do a couple of posts, or, or I'll go on your podcast and you send out an email, or, like it's reciprocal. Most of the deals that I would always do are literally just a 1-page A4, and it basically kind of says, here's what we're trying to get out of it. So here's my ambition. And so my ambition, so your ambition might be, okay, we want to get more listeners to the podcast, and my ambition might be, I want to increase my database, so I want people to sign up to a newsletter. And so then, like, being really upfront about it and kind of going, this is what I'd love to have. Now, of course, the byproduct is that there's so many byproducts. Like, then you might actually have someone reach out to you on LinkedIn and you get a new customer out of it. And, there's 1,000 byproducts that good marketing does. But in terms of that 1-pager, just being really clear and saying, here's what we're going to do. We're going to create a webinar series of, three webinars that are going to go over 3 weeks. We're going to offer this value, and this is how much it's going to cost, or, because somebody's throwing in a book or what have you. But the idea being, what do we want the customer to actually get out of this? Like, what do we want the customer to do? So what do we want the customer to buy? Do we want them as a lead? Do we want them to engage in content? Like, what are we trying to do? Big goal. And then from that interaction, from that customer, we're trying to get them as a lead. And how we're going to do that is, I want them to listen to my podcast and I want them to register for the email. So you're really clear about, this is the objective. And then you set and kind of go, okay, so if you want more people to listen to your podcast, then I agree that I'm going to share your podcast on all my social channels. I'm going to do a Facebook Live. I'm going to write an article on LinkedIn. I'm going to do all these things. And you are going to, you're going to do A, B, C, D, E, F. And so just on 1 page, you're both kind of marking out, here's what we're going to do.
That's great advice.
It just keeps you a little bit accountable. And I would also say, if that is a deal that you're doing with a bigger business, as in not an owned, by the person business, then people leave companies, stuff happens. Like, so I would definitely try to get the name of somebody else in there. So can I get your name? Can I just get somebody else in your team as well, that if I can't get a hold of you and I need something approved, maybe the marketing coordinator or something else? Yep, no problem. And so just having a deal where it sets out kind of all the parties' contact details with some other people in it, a date range. So so we're thinking that this is going to happen in the month of June or month of January, because you might be long lead, and just having kind of spacing it out. And I'm giving you, if you want to use all these images, no problem. If there's any parameters, my opinion is, my gosh, use it anywhere and everywhere you like, because that's obviously going to be of best benefit to the customer. But if you were like, oh no, you can only use my photo for 3 months for some reason or something, then obviously just marking it out and saying, so this is a deal and this is how long it lasts for. And once this content is, only for this period of time, and literally just a 1-page document. And then just having, so everybody's
simple.
like, yeah, I get it. Yeah, I totally agree with that. Again, it is a spirit of intent, and it's a spirit of, we want the customer to have the best experience. And if it is always about the customer, then it becomes less about you bartering one, I'm doing more than you, you've got a bigger database than me. Then it's just about, how can we both go into this doing everything we can so the customer has a great experience.
Great.
Well, I think one thing we do, so many interesting things. My brain is ticking over, Therese. It's really hard, isn't it?
The wheels are turning.
The wheels are turning. One thing we often do with our guests on the podcast is we ask them about their tech tips. Do you have any digital tools that you use and recommend? What sort of programs do you use?
I'm a Canva junkie, I think, like a lot of people, and I've now used it for all my scheduling as well. I love that with one click you can resize it for all your different platforms. Fantastic. And schedule everything. So Canva couldn't live without, but I actually did for the university kind of a digital marketing course, and we came up with some top tips. And so I would say the one thing that everybody went, yeah, that's a good tip, which was, we all update our socials. We're all very good. Keep posting, but we're actually not great at updating our website. So our website might have stayed still for the last 2 years and we haven't updated it, but we're updating our socials all the time. So I would say from a tech tip, a little bit different, not an app or whatever, but I would say get into the habit of taking content that is great and engaging and actually making sure that you're pulling it and putting it back on your website, having that asset also live on your website, and be constantly updating that. Your website is obviously that, that's your property as well, right? Like, you want everybody to come back to your website. That's where your traffic is. That's
your prime real estate
database. Exactly. And obviously all the backlinks and all the SEO and everything else. And obviously we know that Google is prioritizing new content. So if your website hasn't changed in 2 years, it's going to be deprioritized above another website that maybe your competitor that's actually updating their website all the time. So I would say that in terms of, we're all really good at 3 posts a week, or, something about new content all the time. Take that same thought process and apply it to your own house, your website.
I'm feeling guilty right now.
And the thing is, when I said that, like, we all do it. We are all guilty. Even the best tech people would say, yeah, I probably don't do that. But it's just one of those things where we should just, and look, once a month, even if you changed it once a month, just something about it. Change a photo, change a cover shot, change an article, get a new landing page, put a new video on it. Just changing it so Google goes, oh, something new, and actually reprioritizes you.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my goodness, we've gone super over time because
I know
we could just keep talking to you. This is amazing. Oh, what an amazing episode, and just so many insights and wisdom, and we need to process with a stiff drink.
Well, we'll certainly put some links to how to buy Therese's book, obviously, and maybe connect with her on LinkedIn. So they'll all be in the show notes. And
tell us though, how can people find you and find the book? Just give us a quick rundown on where you are online.
Sure. So I am at theresetarlinton.com. I'm the only Therese Tarlinton in the world. So if you can spell my name,
lucky you.
So my name doesn't have a G. Everyone knows Tarlinton. So if you can spell my name, you can find me. But LinkedIn is my favorite playground. But the book is available on Amazon, Booktopia, and then in the US, Barnes & Noble, Target, and Walmart.
Wow.
And I would love, and then my mission this month is I'm going to record the audiobook and try to get that up as well. So, but please, I love meeting new people. Please reach out, and on LinkedIn, I'm, probably too generous with my own good, so I'll tell you all my secrets,
Well, thank you. We appreciate it.
Yes, it has just been brilliant, Therese.
So
Thank
good.
you
Thank you.
so much. And I can see that I will be contacting you on LinkedIn very soon.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much. I've really, really enjoyed this.
It's a great chat,
So
a really
fun.
good chat.
All right. Well, we'll see you all next week.
Thank you.
Thanks for
Bye.
listening. Bye.
Bye.